Coming up on the South Florida High School Football Show, the Hollandale Chargers are undefeated and determined to make a run for the district championship. Cypress Bay coach Mark Guandolo is getting his Lightning squad ready for a big strike. And on the recruiting trail, Larry Bluestein rates the defensive lineman. All of that and more on the South Florida High School Football Show. Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the South Florida High School Football Show presented by the Miami Dolphins. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. As we come to you from the Regal Cinemas, Broward Stadium 12 and RPX, we are in Plantation between University and Pine Island Road. We're at the movies. See, we have popcorn, buttered or not.
Not buttered, but fresh.
Okay. Don Bailey Jr. is all set to go see a romantic comedy. I'm into the dramas. We have a lot of drama in high school football.
That we do, Joe, especially getting towards the end now. It's going to start picking up.
All right, let's take a look at some of the teams that are making some noise right now in high school football. We will start in Broward County with the Chargers of Hollandale, off to a really good start, coached by Damian Jones in his 7th year.
He's done a great job. He's continuing to build that program. It's getting stronger and stronger. He's got a quarterback that makes all the plays. He's got a wide receiver who makes tons of catches, but really, Joe, the story to me is the fact that he has had such a good defense. Also, they're undefeated through their first 5 games, have a bye week this past weekend. How about their offensive line? It's been dominant. You know what a dominant offensive line can do for you. It chews up clock, it gives you the running game, but allows for play action. And when you talk about off to a great start, they got to make sure that they sustain that, because they have done that before. And they've slipped a little bit towards the end. That's right. Last year got off to a really good start, but this year they're counting on their running back, Taj McGowan, and his quarterback, Tyler Huntley, that combination to carry them all the way through. Well, what's nice is you've got the running game in place, but the quarterback also has the ability to run himself. He's not a pure drop back guy. He can pick up the yards and move the chains and count as the 11th man on that offense. Let's go into Miami-Dade County in Southwest. The Eagles have a solid team coached by Tim Neal. He's done a nice job. He continues to build that program as well. They're picking up more and more numbers as each year goes by. They're coming off an emotional game this week. They had a short week, so they played on Wednesday. Earlier in the year, they had trouble holding on to leads. They got in front of Belen 17-0, then had a 21-0 lead over Miami High. They went 1-1 in those games, so they've got to finish. Well, that they do. They were able to get to the 3-quarter mark, so to speak. So what happens is sometimes when you have trouble in the 4th quarter, sometimes it's conditioning, sometimes it's focus, sometimes it's the turnover that comes back to haunt you. But more importantly, you just have to understand and continue to tell your players it is a full game. It's not 2 quarters or 3 quarters. You've got to give them the full 4 quarters. They have the dynamic quarterback that you need in high school football. DeAndre Pickett-White is a veteran quarterback, and he can make a lot of things happen. What's nice is that he was in the program, so you don't have to reteach somebody. He's also gained the respect of his players, both on offense and defense. He does a good job leading this team, and he can make it happen. Make it happen, indeed. He has over 800 yards in total offense, so that's tough to key on. Oh, it certainly is, because once you think you've got him pinned in to force him to pass the football, he can skedaddle right out of there and make a play with his feet. Trevon Sands is the leading receiver for them. He's averaging nearly 19 yards a reception. Hard to believe that these numbers, and we talk about them every single week, are so big in the passing game. The yards per catch, almost 20 yards per catch, but it's also the after catch plays that these guys are making. They've got a big game coming up in the middle of October, a matchup with Ferguson that likely will help determine their playoff future in that district. Let's go into Broward County, Cypress Bay, the Lightning coached by Mark Guandolo. We'll visit with him a little bit later on in the show. They always have a solid program. That they do. They are well coached from top to bottom. They're going to be low in the mistake category. They're always going to be in condition. They're going to be physical. They're going to chase the football. When you have your list of what needs to be done right, Coach Mark Guandolo makes sure all those boxes are checked. They're going to be in a battle in their district with Miramar and Flanagan. Already suffered a loss to Flanagan, but you know how Coach G is going to get it done. Run the football. plain and simple. He's almost of the school that he will stand out there, point to where he's going to run it, and then execute it. So they just rep the running game time and time and time again, and it has paid off. I mean, historically, he has done the same thing he's doing now, and as we know, he's had nothing but winning seasons.
Now, 2 years ago, they were in the state championship game and lost a heartbreaker. Since that time, he's been trying to rebuild it, has a veteran squad now, and will be in a position to make a run here.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has a loss already, but as you mentioned, you're going to find out a lot about them when they take on Miramar. But more importantly, he has experience on how to get these teams through a season to navigate the schedule, and then once the playoffs come, we all know anything is possible.
Cypress Bay has a game coming up against Western, then a matchup against St. Thomas, and then their big showdown with Miramar. And I think that will be quite a contest. Some very good high school football play this past weekend. Here are the highlights with Joe Rose.
Thanks, Joe and Don. Well, most of the high school football action taking place Thursday night. Let's get to it. Weather creating problems. Deerfield and Taravella from Coral Springs tied at 7 late in the second quarter. Antonio Cartagena grabs the pass and has plenty of room to run. 55-yard score. The game delayed by lightning, but the Bucks win this one 14-7. Homecoming night for Norland. Long live the Queen. The Vikings facing Northwestern, and the Bulls trying to spoil the party. Chateres Atwell keeps it himself. 5-yard touchdown, good for a 10-0 lead. But back comes Norland, using some trickery. Receiver Stephen McIntosh throwing deep for Terrell Scott. That's a 24-yard touchdown, evens the game at 10. Weather postpones the rest of the game until tomorrow at 6 p.m.
The South Florida High School Football Show is brought to you by the Miami Dolphins, the U.S. Army. There's strong, and then there's Army Strong. Tico People's Gas, reminding you to call 811 before you dig. Metro PCS, wireless for all. South Florida Chevy dealers, find new roads. Broward Health, powerful medicine. Regal Entertainment Group, where we are more than just a movie. Adidas Football and the Addy Zero 5-Star 3.0, and 560 WQAM Sports Radio.
At some point, it became more important to show off than to share. We started missing the good stuff around us, just so we could focus on what makes our lives look good. But it's not the quality of the picture that matters. It's the quality of the moment. The Chevrolet Malibu, J.D. Power's highest-ranked midsize car in initial quality. For people who know what's truly valuable.
Baby, what's the fastest way to the hospital?
It's coming.
What do you mean it's coming?
I'm pushing, but it's too slow.
No, baby, breathe.
At times like these, you shouldn't go slow. You should be fast with Metro's lightning fast nationwide 4G LTE network. With unlimited data, talk, and text, $40, period.
Twins.
No surprises. Even taxes and fees are included. $40, period.
The recruiting segment is brought to you by Metro PCS, wireless for all.
The South Florida High School Football Show continues now, presented by the Miami Dolphins. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. coming to you from the Regal Cinemas, Broward Stadium 12 and RPX here in Plantation between University and Pine Island Road. A beautiful movie theater. If you're looking for something to do in between high school football on the weekend, go to the movies right here. All right, let's get into our recruiting segment. And this week we are switching from offense to defense, and we'll begin our look at some of the defensive prospects on the defensive line.
Well, Joe, when you think about college football today and you think about it 40 years ago or 50 years ago, however long you want to go back, there has always been a premium on defensive linemen. If you've got a 5-star or 4-star defensive lineman, everybody in the country is going to offer him a scholarship, especially at the defensive tackle spot. The defensive ends, of course, have been able to be turned into hybrids and you can move them around. But when you talk about a pure defensive tackle, there's nothing more exciting to try and attract to your university.
Yeah, it's Christmas Day if you land a few defensive tackles.
That's right.
That's why a lot of teams are going to three-man fronts.
That's right.
Can't find them all. All right, well, you know who has all the answers on where the defensive tackles are? Our boy Blue. Larry Bluestein is looking really sharp. We will dial him up on our Metro PCS LG Optimus F6. Old Blue, let's talk about those defensive linemen.
Hey, Joe and Don, I know you're all ears this week. It's the defensive line. And when you talk about defensive linemen, especially in Dade and Broward County, you know we're always going to have quality. We're going to start in Dade County with Furman Silva from Miami Central. Just watch this kid play. I mean, he attacks. He does so many great things. I love this guy. I mean, he's a gamer. He comes every week to play. I mean, he's a leader on the line. He's the one that gives Central probably the best reason to believe this year because their front seven is just crazy good. Speaking about crazy good, what about Jared McGee from Coral Gables High School? Was at Northwestern last year. Probably one of the most improved nose tackles around. He creates situations. He'll blow up plays. I mean, this is a guy that you just gotta love. And when you watch this guy play, I mean, he scans the entire field, looks in that backfield, chases down the quarterback, and does some tremendous things. And rounding out Dade County, Alejandro Levy from Christopher Columbus. I'm telling you, every year Columbus has a player like this, a guy that doesn't get the publicity, but he always comes through. Alejandro Levy was probably one of their most consistent linemen coming out of his junior year, will be one of the best defensive linemen this year. He just knows, he anticipates. This is one of those guys, a very intelligent kid. He reads extremely well. We moved to Broward County, no drop off whatsoever. Last year, you saw him at University School. Well, actually, we've been watching him since the 10th grade, Brandon Boyce. Now he's at St. Thomas Aquinas, probably one of the strongest nose tackles. He's on his way to Duke, very intelligent kid. He just knows this game inside and out. Probably one of the best readers of the defensive lineman coming back. Brandon Boyce, don't forget that name. Speaking about not forgetting names, what about Jason Strobridge? From the first time he played as a sophomore, everybody knew. This kid, 6'4.5", 245 pounds, getting bigger all the time, probably an end, can play inside, but as an end, he gets off the ball so quick, he anticipates. The only thing that he had when he first started playing this game was to learn the position, learn technique. But Jason at Deerfield, I'll tell you what, he has emerged into one of the top defensive linemen around. As you watch him play, you'll just be bowled over by what he does. And rounding it out, if you've watched the Miramar saga over the last couple of years, you know that it all starts up front. Last year it did against St. Thomas Aquinas. It did in almost every game. Darryl Swanson is one of those guys who can make it happen. He's a quick, agile guy. He anticipates very well. He reads plays. He knows where the flow of the ball is going. I mean, this is just one of those guys. I'm telling you, this is a guy that helps you beat St. Thomas. This is a guy that helps you beat a Plantation American Heritage. That's the type of players. Guys, I told you you'd be excited. This week, defensive linemen in Dade and Broward, you got to be kidding me.
Thanks, Larry. Remember, South Florida High School football fans, you can stay in the know with the latest news and updates by following us on social media.
Follow us on Twitter at HSFBall, Instagram at SFHSFS, and be sure to like us on Facebook at South Florida High School Football.
We continue now with our Broward Health Injury Report with Dr. Carrera, and in this report, we're going to talk about an injury to the hip, which can be quite complicated.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different injuries that can happen, but some of them are pretty simple. Things like hip pointers, which are bruises, bounce back pretty quickly from, and some are a lot more complicated and even requiring surgical treatment.
The ones that would require surgical treatment, what happens there?
In these cases, there's actual damage typically inside the joint into a couple of the structures that may not be able to heal up on their own. So generally we try and give these injuries a chance to heal over a few months, and if they're not healing, then they can be treated now with surgery.
And should they need surgery, how long is the rehab?
Typically it's 6 to 9 months or so to get back to actually playing sports, but the main part of the recovery is about 6 weeks.
Doctor, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The Play of the Week is brought to you by Regal Entertainment Group, where we are more than just a movie.
Westminster Christian danced their way to a win against Gulliver, this game producing one heck of a highlight from Westminster wideout Akil Oliver. Check out this grab he makes over the defender for the touchdown.
With more than 50 locations across Broward County, there's always a Broward Health Doctor's Office, urgent care center, or top-ranked hospital within range. Maybe even closer than you think.
Broward Health. Powerful medicine.
To find the Broward Health facility nearest you, call or go online.
As a kid, I wanted to play football to make me stronger. At Dolphins Academy, I saw my skills grow. Campmates turned into teammates. Summer days in shorts turned into Sundays in pads. I'm Olivier Vernon, and we are stronger together. Join us at Dolphins.com.
For outdoor projects large or small, avoiding buried utility lines is more than food for thought.
What happened?
Know what's below. You or your contractor should always call 811 before you dig. Utilities will mark your lines for free. Brought to you by Tico Peoples Gas.
The Coach of the Week is brought to you by Adidas Football and the Adizero 5-Star 3.0. The lightest cleat in football can be bought at adidas.com/football.
The South Florida High School Football Show, presented by the Miami Dolphins, continues. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. We're coming to you from the Regal Cinemas, Broward Stadium 12 and RPX. RPX, by the way, means Regal Premium Experience.
I'm glad you figured that out, Joe.
Which means you get an experience here at the movies like none other anyplace else.
And don't forget the popcorn.
Well, I was going to get to that because I keep looking over there. We're 3/4 of the way through the show, and that popcorn's going down. Somebody's eating that popcorn during the show.
There's a magician here as well. He shows up during the show from time to time.
Okay. Another magician in high school football is Mark Guandolo from Cypress Bay. He's been there for a long time, been a long-time coach in South Florida. He's dedicated his life to high school football.
He has, Joe, and it shows. I've been around his players for numerous years, and they are all respectful. They all do a great job on the field and in the classroom.
All right, Mark Guandolo right now with our Wesley Carroll.
Thanks, Joe and Don. I'm here with Adidas Coach of the Week, Mark Guandolo, Cypress Bay head coach. Coach, I noticed warming up, you were warming up the guys, very blue-collar mentality. You just got to talk about that for me and what the mindset is.
Well, you know, I love strength and conditioning. That's as much as I do love coaching football. I think it's important, and I like being with the boys, you know, when it's time to get ready to play football. So it's a ritual. I've done it since I've been coaching and really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's very unique. Coach, you've been down here in South Florida for so long, obviously at Chaminade for many, many years. You come to Cypress Bay. Talk about the difference in culture and what you're bringing to this program.
Well, you know, it's the same. You know, we try to, you know, the weight room's big for us, conditioning, getting bigger and stronger, discipline, you know, trying to do the little things. I think that's important. You know, we really harp on the little things. And then, you know, I'm Italian. I have a family background, so family and team, you know, in this day and age, it's tough to teach family and team and giving of yourself for your teammates. But that's what we preach, and that's what we've done for years, and it seems to work.
And, Coach, last year you guys didn't do as well as you would have liked to. Call it a rebuilding year. I know you don't want to talk about that, but you had some promise. You had guys like Mikey Epstein. Talk about a running back as unique as him, playing as a freshman and what he's done now this year.
Yeah, I mean, our tailback went down, so Mikey had to step in, and he had to play against some really tough teams, St. Thomas, Miramar, and we gave him the ball. He took his licks, but he ran hard, and I think, you know, just as a freshman to see that gave him confidence to perform this year, and, you know, we're excited about what he's going to do this year.
That's great, Coach. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, that's our Adidas Coach of the Week, Mark Guandolo. Thanks. Joe and Don, back to you.
Thanks, Wes. Tico Peoples Gas is awarding the 6th Annual Player of the Year Awards to a player in Miami-Dade and a player in Broward County.
Fans can nominate a player by logging on to SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com. Click on the Tico Player of the Year icon. Nominations are open until November 30th. After November 30th, revisit the site and vote for the finalists.
The players receive a beautiful crystal trophy, and their school receives a $500 donation.
Tune in to our National Signing Day TV show on February 4th, where the winners are going to be announced.
This Dolphin player flashback is sponsored by the Miami Dolphins.
It's Deion Sims, tight end for the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I started off playing ball when I was 8. I've been playing since then. Running back was my first position. I played quarterback the rest of the time until I got to high school. My freshman year, I played quarterback on JV in the first game, and then the next week I played on varsity at wide receiver. I sat out my second year in high school. I transferred schools. In my third year, my team made it to the state championship where we lost in 5 overtimes, unfortunately. But I mean, it was a great experience. And my senior year, I got a scholarship from Michigan State University, which I accepted. And I played tight end there for 3 years. And now I'm here with the Miami Dolphins in my second year. And my biggest advice to the high school kids out there is to, live your dreams and don't listen to what other people say. Always have confidence and faith in yourself and put God first in everything, and you'll be fine.
This week's All-American Bowl nominees are brought to you by the U.S. Army. They're strong, and then there's Army strong. First up, we have Jaquan Johnson, the 5'10", 180-pound athlete out of Killian. Johnson finds ways to make plays on both ends of the ball at the safety and running back positions. He's an explosive ball carrier who needs only a small crease to reach the second level of the defense. Canes fans will be happy to know this 4-star recruit gave his verbal back in August. Next up is Shamar Kilby-Lane, the linebacker from Hallandale. This FSU commit comes in at 6'2", 215 pounds. He plays very well in the space and has the natural instinct needed to take over a game. As the leader of the Chargers defense, Kilby-Lane was in the middle of the action last season, finishing with more than 100 tackles, nearly half for a loss, as well as 12 sacks and 4 interceptions as a junior. This year we can count on him to be a dominant force on the field.
You love movies. Join the club and the movies will love you back. The Regal Crown Club. With every visit, you earn credits toward free movies, popcorn, and soft drinks. Plus, with a valid email, you'll get money-saving offers and special invitations to exclusive events. Grab a card at the box office, activate it at regmovies.com, or visit our Regal Movies mobile app. Then earn rewards with a swipe or scan of your card right from your phone. So share the love. Join the club, the Regal Crown Club.
At some point, it became more important to show off than to share. We started missing the good stuff around us, just so we could focus on what makes our lives look good. But it's not the quality of the picture that matters. It's the quality of the moment. The Chevrolet Malibu, J.D. Power's highest-ranked midsize car in initial quality, for people who know what's truly valuable.
Each week, the South Florida Chevy dealers are on site at our radio broadcast to present a donation to the schools we are covering as part of the South Florida Chevy Dealers Game of the Week. Each school receives a general donation of $250 from the South Florida Chevy dealers. Congratulations, Cypress Bay and Everglades. Find new roads at your local South Florida Chevy dealer.
Welcome back to the South Florida High School Football Show presented by the Miami Dolphins. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. We're at the Regal Cinemas Broward Stadium 12 and RPX here in Plantation. We're at the movies. I'll tell you what, a heck of a show will be put on this week coming up as Northwestern will take on Booker T. That's going to be our broadcast game on 560 WQAM. Booker T and Northwestern. Northwestern got off to a great start this year, but they're going to have their hands full with a very solid Booker T program.
I think that works both ways, Joe, but Booker T, Mark Walton is doing an unbelievable job out of the running back position. He's halfway to 1,000 yards already at this point of the year. I think he's a guy that can push that 1,200 or 1,300 yard limit on the season. He can catch, he can run, he can block, he's well coached, and they tie it together with the quarterback and all that athletic talent that Booker T has. And then you put a Northwestern as an opponent, you know how high that energy is going to get.
Oh yeah. Now Northwestern's going to be coming off a tough game against Norland, so we'll see how much emotion they have left in the tank. Booker T, they're outscoring their opponents 40-12. They are explosive.
Yeah, when you think of it, it's a 3-to-1 ratio on points scored versus points allowed. It tells you how dominant they have been. And the talk is still, can Booker T win a national, not a state, but a national championship? And the way that they're playing, the points that they're putting up, it sure looks like they're on their way.
All right, you can hear that game on 560 WQAM. This should be a very entertaining game. Killian taking on Coral Gables, a potential playoff preview and a rematch of last year's thriller won by Killian. Cavaliers want some revenge.
That they do, and they're going to work awfully hard for two well-coached teams once again. Everybody's going to be there. It's somewhat of almost a rivalry game. Two teams from the South, but it'll be interesting. There'll be a lot of explosive plays from both of those teams.
Killian is led by Jaquan Johnson on defense. They've been almost impossible to score in less than a touchdown a game.
Yeah, the defense is what impresses me, especially when you start talking about winning the tough game and getting into the playoffs. We all love the touchdowns. We all love the big runs. But as we both know, we've seen a lot of football, and defense will win those big games.
Well, the Gables defense has been impressive. They've got a nice running back, Mir Razul, who's keeping them in a lot of games.
That he is, Joe. He's a powerful back. He allows them to do some things in the passing game as well. He does a good job with the football and securing it. He hasn't laid it on the ground as much as you would think with as many carries as he's been given.
An old-fashioned Miami-Dade County game, North Miami Beach taking on Carroll City. The Chiefs have struggled this year despite being very competitive. You know they always have great athletes.
That they do. I'm surprised that they are struggling. They're going to do a good job of putting a competitive product on the field every week.
They played Southridge a couple of weeks ago and forced 6 turnovers, so that kind of ball-hawking defense can really change games for you.
It certainly can. When you talk about creating that many turnovers in a ball game, you almost think it's a misprint when you read it. But the fact is, when you get those turnovers, you got to convert those into points.
Steve Calvert is the quarterback there. They're throwing the ball around a little bit, Carroll City. He's throwing for over 1,000 yards.
Well, let's face it, Aubrey Hill, their head coach, was a former wide receiver. He understands the importance of getting his guys catches, and they're throwing completions, and boy, those receivers love catching it.
All right, it's a non-district game, but it should be a good one. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Okay, you can finish off the popcorn now.
Thank you very much,
Go
Joe.
see your romantic comedy as well. Go to a high school football game or come on out here to the movies. Or check us out next week right here. Thanks for joining us on the South Florida High School Football Show. So long, everyone.
The South Florida High School Football Show has been brought to you by the Miami Dolphins, the U.S. Army, there's strong, and then there's Army strong. Tico People's Gas, reminding you to call 811 before you dig. Metro PCS, wireless for all. South Florida Chevy Dealers, find new roads. Broward Health, powerful medicine. Regal Entertainment Group, where we are more than just a movie. Adidas Football and the Addy Zero 5-Star 3.0, and 560 WQAM Sports Radio.
One ready on 3, 1 ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 ready. Let's go to work.